Good afternoon. Mr. Kowalczyk here again. And today we finish up Chapter 3 for Business Math with Section 3-3. Chapter 3 has been all about budgeting your money, managing your money, taking a look at your money, and making sure you know where your money goes. A budget can be created in a variety of different ways. There are all types of internet websites that can help you do that, create a budget. There are all types of programs that you can use. And on top of that, there are a variety of different ways that you can set up your budget. Well, one way, of course, is just marking down a list of all of the different types of expenses that you may have. All of the different types of expenses that you may have. And then, after you have all of those expenses written out, you budget a certain amount of money per expense. What does that mean? Well, that means that your goal, for example, for food is to spend no more than $350. If you go over, sometimes it happens. Maybe around December and Christmas and the holidays, you have a lot of people over, so your grocery budget, your food budget is higher than normal. But some months you might be lower. The goal is always to spend $350. The goal is always to spend $350. But sometimes you go over and sometimes you go under. Same thing with some of these household expenses. Now notice, household doesn't have anything written next to it. Why? Well, because all of these are the various household expenses that someone may have. $73 for the electric bill, cell phone bill, natural gas bill, water bill, cable bill, all types of different bills associated with the household. And as you can see, as you go down the list, there are all types of different categories and different dollar amounts associated with them. We even have a fixed section where everything is set. Once again, fixed expenses are expenses that probably will not change. They're going to be the same every month. They're going to be the same every month. The only ones that won't be the same are these down here. Why? Well, most likely because car registration is something you pay once a year. You budget for it per month, and if you take $8.33 and you multiply it times 12, you get about $100. It's approximately $100. So your car registration might be $100 for your car and maybe your spouse's car. So you got to have $100 put away. Well, how do you do that? You save up a little bit each month. Same thing with life insurance and car insurance payments. Even though you might not spend anything this month, you still have to save up money for them each month for when the bill is due. So usually fixed expenses never change, and that means that all of these up here, well, all of these are variable expenses. Well, today what we're doing is we're taking the amount that a person has budgeted, and we're comparing it with what they actually spent. As I mentioned earlier, sometimes with food you might go over, sometimes you might go under. It just depends upon what's going on with your family this month. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this chart over here to answer all of these questions. Now, let me warn you, these questions in this chart is not from your homework. These are just examples. Just examples. So, with that being said, let's get started. Number 1, did this family go over or stay under budget for their grocery bill? Well, as you look at it over here, they budgeted $350, but they spent $379. Uh-oh, that's not good. So what that means is that they went over. That's right, they went over. And all you got to do is write the word over. Number 2, did this family go over or stay under budget on heating fuel? So what we've got to do is start looking for heating fuel. Oh, here it is. And if you look at it, it looks like they stayed under. They budgeted $49.50, but spent only $48.21. So they did, not too bad. They went a little bit under this month. So over here, I write under. Why do you think they spent the amount of money, or that amount of money, on heating fuel? Well, right here, this is going to be a question where you're just trying to think. You're trying to think of reasons why they spent $48.21, why they were right there in the middle. They almost broke even. Well, there are a variety of reasons for that. But let me just type out something. Oh, let me change this up a little bit. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller so I can fit it on here pretty good. October isn't too hot or too cold. Temps were average, so the bill was almost matching. It was almost matching the budgeted amount. So you write a little something right there. Because let's think about it. When we're talking about heating the house or heating the apartment, you're not going to heat it during July or August, maybe not even during September. But you will definitely heat it in January and February, and you might actually go over budget during those months. You see right here, it's almost dead even. We're only off by about $1.29. So it's probably because October kind of has some mild temperatures. Some days it's hot, some days it's cold, and some nights are cold, and that might be the only time that it's cold. So the heat might be on at night, but it might be off during the day. And so it kind of matches up to about $49.50. Ultimately, what happens is that it balances out over the course of a year. Let's keep going and move on to number 4. Which expenses for the month was more spent than what was budgeted? Well, we got a couple of them. Food. All right. What's another one? Some of you already saw food, but what we've got to do is start looking over here on the chart. All right. Good. It looks like, oh my goodness, gasoline. Gasoline purchases. We went over on gasoline purchases. Oh, we went over on clothing. We went over on credit payments. We went over on pocket money. By the way, there's not 5 of them. There's actually 7. Let me erase that. All right, so we've got pocket money. We went over on movies, and we went over on dining out. Now, some of you might be sitting there going, where is he getting these? Well, let me show you. Once again, we went over right here. That number's higher than the amount budgeted. The amount that was actually spent is higher. So right here, we went over. Right here, we went over. Right here, and right here we also went over. And then right here, and right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we've got them all written out. We went over on those. Number 5. Let's move on to number 5. What was the total amount that was actually spent on household expenses? Well, with this one, gang, we have to actually do some math. I know I'm going to be writing it kind of small, but hopefully you'll be able to see it. So what was the actual amount spent on household expenses? Well, we're going to take $65.70. That was from the electric bill. Cell phone bill was $86.25. And then natural gas was $48.21. Then it was $37.40 and $35. So we're going to add up every single one of those dollar amounts. And what do we get? $272.56. So I'll write that over here on the line that's provided. $272.56. So that's how much we actually spent on household expenses. How much did this family underspend on movies? Well, right here we're going to do some more math. In order to do that, we first need to find the movies. Here we go. On movies, did they actually underspend? No, they actually overspend. Spent. So let me change that up. That way the question makes better sense. How much did they overspend, right? There we go. How much did this family overspend on movies? Well, what we've got to do to calculate the overspending is we subtract. We take the bigger number minus the smaller number. And by doing that, we get $6. So they overspent by $6. Check it out. We once again have an issue where there we go. It needs to say overspend right there. It needs to say overspend right there. How much did this family overspend on clothing? Well, once again, we're going to subtract. We go and find the clothing, and it's $65.80. Whew, that's a lot of money for clothing. $65.80 minus $26.33. We're going to take $65.80 minus $26.33, and you get $39.47. How much did this family, for number 8, budget for personal expenses? Well, what you do is you add them up. You add up the amount that they budgeted for personal expenses. And I'm not going to go through and do that right now because I think you kind of get the idea. But we add up all those numbers and we write the total right there. Number 9, how much did the family actually spend on personal expenses? Well, you add up these numbers and then you write that right there. Once again, I'm not going to go through and show you the work on this. I think you kind of get the idea. Number 10, and we're almost getting done here. We're almost done. How much money did this family budget for the entire month? Well, in order to calculate number 10, you take all of these dollar amounts and you add all of them up in purple. Your total you write here. And then the last question asks, number 11, did they stay under or did they go over for the entire month? Now for number 11, you're going to write out a word like under or over. But in order to calculate that, you have to first add up the actual amount that was spent and compare them. Which number was bigger, the purple number or the dark red number? If the purple number is bigger than the dark red number, then the cool part is they stayed under. They did great. But if the red number's bigger, then they went over their budget and they spent more than they needed to, and that's not good. Once you figure out whether it's over or under, you just write a word over there on 11. You just write a word over here on 11. And that word could be something as simple as under. Probably ought to, there we go. Under. It just depends upon what type of math you find for the purple and the red. Once again, if you have questions, please talk to Mr. Kowalczyk. He did go over a few of these things pretty quickly. And if you need any more clarification, let him know.